Hey patrons, this is Johannes from Noisebud, and I'm laughing because I just recorded a half an hour of a video, but I forgot to press record. So, this feels a bit deja vu for me. Well, okay, here we go anyway. This is Shape2 Advanced Alpha 10. So, the 10th alpha build of Shape2 Advanced, and I added two functions to the plugin. Let's start by looking at it here. The new stuff is that I implemented the same loudness function as the loudness compensation algorithm that I implemented in Fres. So this works the same way. You put it on the most intense part when you're done with your settings, or while you're working with it as well, and let the audio play for 3 seconds, so you get the short-term value. The longer you play the section, the more exact will the compensation be, and then you hit the loudness compensation button. That will lock the current short-term value, and you can compare how it sounds before and after. So that's nothing strange. I usually don't use the loudness compensation button in this plugin because it's just enough to look at the meter, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on while we're demoing the new functions in this plugin. The other thing that is new is that I added a fundamental function. It's the same as the harmonics that adds the second harmonic, and a bit more harmonics as well, the third, and so on as well. With that function, you have two options. You can create those with a synthesized filtered noise, which doesn't sound that natural, but can be really cool because you feel as if you get stereo in the low end, and that's cool. Or you can use the like a normal where you use the original audio and get the resonances, use them as harmonics. The fundamental does the same thing. It adds a copy of the audio one octave down, so you can go deeper with this plugin. And the idea is when you have something that kind of lags the lower octave, and the things that are there, if you boost them or compress them with compress low, for example, and it doesn't sound that good, then you can try the fundamental and raise those frequencies by that method instead. So you have, it's more tools in your palette to tweak the low end to something that suits you. I'm going to start by demoing that function, the fundamental function, by using split that I released a while ago, and make an extreme high pass of my tribute to my cat that liked to jump out from windows no matter how high it was. The track is called Kamikaze Cat, and let's listen to the original first. So I'm gonna bypass these two plugins which affect the audio, and it sounds like this. This track actually lacks a lot of low end, and that's on purpose. It's supposed to be some kind of electronic punk, so it's not supposed to have any deep low end. It should sound like a garage band, kind of a punk garage band kind of sound, with more energy than low end, really. We're gonna use that as a demo anyway. We start by using split, and we can actually put up span here somewhere so that we see that as well. We will use split with an extremely steep setting. So we're gonna cut away everything below 90 hertz And let's have a look at how that looks. Let's start with it off, and I'm gonna activate it a bit in and watch the low end on the spectrum. Yeah, I toggle it on and off there a little bit so you can see that it just cuts everything below 90 hertz. There's nothing below 90 hertz when you do it like this. All right, let's bring up Shape2 Advanced again. Move this a little bit out of the way. We just need to see the lowest frequencies anyway. So this is 100 hertz right there. So we're watching things below here somewhere. And let's start with most settings to, yeah, yeah, something like that. We'll start with using Shape2 Advanced as the previous version where we couldn't add a new fundamental to the audio to see how it would work. We can bring back just a little bit when we're compressing by 30 decibel. That is, we're pushing the audio into a wave shaper with 30 decibels of boost, and then it goes through the wave shaper. And even with 30 decibels, that's much. Really, you could see on the spectrum that we're adding stuff, that we're bringing stuff back, but it's just too low in level to begin with to be able to bring it all back. So we're backing that off again, and we're gonna raise the fundamental control here instead, which is placed, it's a bit hard to see, but it's outside of the harmonics. I'm gonna remake the interface so that I can fit two more real knobs like these for the harmonics and fundamental, because this is just, I mean, it works, but it's not easy to use them. So I will do that, but for now we got this version. All right, let's see how this sounds. We start with everything at 0 here, and I'm gonna raise the fundamental. All of a sudden, we could bring back a lot more, and it sounds, yeah, it sounds pretty natural. I'm guessing the original will sound better. Actually, we can compare with the original. I'm gonna use this button to bypass all the plugins, so because then I just need to bypass one plugin or one button to bypass everything. All right, this is the original. When this is red, it's the original. When it's green, then it's the high pass filter, and then Shape2 Advanced. You can hear that the originals still have a little bit more of low end, but we have just raised the fundamental. We haven't done anything else in the plugin. So I'm gonna boost a little bit with the compress low and use some other controls to see if I can match the original audio. So here we go. It's pretty cool. I can bring it back. So that's the fundamental function. Yeah, you also have a little high pass below, and that's because this function will, depending on the original audio, it can create a lot of energy between 0 and 20 hertz as well. And it's safest to keep the high pass active. It will pretty much, yeah, it will start to get at 30 hertz, but it's not that extremely steep, so it won't take away everything below 30. It will bring it down, so around 16 hertz or so. Then it's yeah, so it's around high pass, and it's just affecting the added things with the fundamentals, so it doesn't affect the original audio, which means that you can keep natural 30, for example, active and have the original audio below 30 hertz. Keep that and use this high pass to high pass away anything new created by the fundamental. Then you will have a natural, yeah, it feels really natural. It sounds natural if you do that because you're using the original audio. So that's always the best when you don't need to mess up stuff that's not messed up. You just want to fix what's broken, not the rest of the audio. All right. That is the fundamental function when you use it to try to bring back something that's missing. If you get a mix from someone where you think that, oh no, they high passed everything, and then you can use it like I did in this example. I hope you don't get things that are this extreme, that it doesn't have any information at all below 90 hertz. I hope you don't have to work with music like that. I don't think I ever have had a file that's that bad. I have files where they lost the project files and I had to do some things to bring it back, but not this extreme. It's just for demo purposes. All right, let's do some things where we have a drum loop, and I'm gonna load this preset. Yep. Now we're going to bypass the high pass, so that's bypassed, and we're just gonna have a look at Shape2 Advanced and the fundamental function when the audio actually it doesn't lack any low end. I just want to play around with it. I just want to use it as a tool to shape the audio. And I'm gonna hit play and let this loop just run while I'm tweaking stuff so you can see what I can achieve. And I probably will do different kinds of feelings and move the energy of the low end around a little bit to see if I can find something that I really like. But I probably will make it so that it sounds as more low end than it did before anyway, because I like low end. Here we go. I don't know where this is gonna end, but let's see. Did you see the spectrum here when I raised the fundamental. It's pretty fun. If you're like me, that you really love low end, then you probably think that, oh, that sounds good, that's cool, let's keep that. However, I wouldn't keep that, because now we're going to talk a little bit how you can use the loudness meter down here. This shows you how much perceived loudness you are gaining or losing by tweaking the low end. And right now with these settings, it feels full and warm and stuff, and it sounds nice, but we're losing a lot of loudness. So let's hit play again and see how that looks. Even if we start to perceive it as a bit louder when we bring back the low end or bring in a lot of low end, you still kind of miss the upper part of the spectrum, the openness that the upper spectrum brings. You just lose that when you have to, when you're losing 2 decibels of perceived loudness like these settings are doing. So I'm gonna try to do something quite extreme, but then bring it back a little bit and see if we can find some settings that maybe we lose a half a decibels of perceived loudness or something, and because of that, can low end surely make up for. It will sound louder even if we're losing a little bit of loudness in the higher spectrum. So let's see if I can do that. Probably something like this. Now I still have a little bit more energy in the low end, below 70 hertz, but I only lose 0.2 decibels of loudness of the upper region, which probably doesn't. I mean, people would probably like the low end a bit better, because so they won't miss the energy in the high end that we're actually losing with these settings, because low end also brings loudness. So even if you have to attenuate the gain to have this same loudness as without the low end, it feels like it's a bit louder anyway because of the low end. So these settings are something I would probably tweak it a little bit more. But about these settings could be cool. We'll still have a lot more low end than in the original, but it's not too much, and we're not losing too much loudness. let's tweak a little bit more just because it's fun. Yeah, that was really creative. I moved the low end so it starts before the actual transient. So I made that woo, woo, woo feeling of the thing instead. So I used to look ahead to make the plugin react in the future, so to speak. I liked it at 0 better, but just for funsies, all right. This is Shape2 Advanced Alpha010. And yeah, it's available for patrons right now, and I'm gonna continue working with this. I thought that I would be finished by now, but I need to rework the graphics so that I can fit bigger knobs for the fundamental and harmonics, because I use them a lot and it's a bit annoying that they're so small. And yeah, so I'm gonna fix that. But anyway, it's a pretty nice working release, so go and download it and fun with it, and I'll see you soon again. Bye bye.